Go. Hey guys, welcome back to the Off the Script podcast. This time we have on another guest. And guys, we're finally a multinational podcast. Would you like to introduce yourself, Kevin?
Yeah, sure. My name is Kevin Stütz. I'm 29 years old. I'm an IFBB Pro since last year in 2019, turned pro at the Virus Open Cup, I think. It was in Czech Republic, and working as a nutrition coach, and have two companies like the Brutal Work Clothing. It's like a workout wear, and also a membership site like the Trained by GP site, but only in German.
Okay, wow. So for the age of 29, you are, I would say, very successful and have really built out a career for yourself already. Like, that's pretty impressive.
It's always with who you compare with, so
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I suppose, especially like I imagine you're around like some really incredible company. Obviously, you've got JP as a sponsor and all the affiliates that come with that and everything. And also, you train around like some animals in Vienna, right?
Yeah, definitely. So we have three bodybuilding based gyms in Vienna.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty good environment here to train. And as you said, they are pretty much all animals, and we're just pushing each other to the limit. And yeah, this is a really good environment to grow, I would say.
Yeah, it looks it, absolutely. What is the training situation for you guys now? Are gyms open in Austria?
Yes, the gyms opened back up on 29th of May.
Okay,
and
cool.
Yeah, we just like have to disinfect or clean all the machines after using them, and that's all.
Yeah, okay, that's not bad. I asked that because obviously we're in a tight spot where in the next few weeks we'll be opening up. So I've just been asking everyone that I know who's from somewhere where gyms open, just like trying to figure out what it's going to be like, and if it's going to be worth like going back to some of the gyms, because like I know there's been talk about like having one-way systems in gyms, and like you have to be very specific about how you go around the gyms and stuff. So that doesn't sound too bad though. So have you've been training, I presume, even when the gyms are closed?
Yes, because a friend of mine has a private gym, and we trained there. So I was just driving like 4 times a week for 45 minutes to the gym and back. So it's okay.
Yeah, that's not too bad actually.
It's better than not training.
It's better than doing push band workouts in your kitchen.
Sure. I was really fortunate, yeah.
Yeah. Are you, so obviously you're a pro. We've had a few pros on, but you're the first classic pro.
Okay.
Had one on. So I think this is really interesting for me, because I'm a big fan of the classic class, and it's something that I see myself doing in the future. How did you get into that? Was it because it was bodybuilding first for you, right? And then it just
it was always bodybuilding. I didn't even like the classic at first, because I don't like the routines or something. I always post to some hard music like Rammstein or something like this.
That's cool.
Because I like the hardcore style. But definitely talking about genetic level, because I don't think I can grow into the super heavyweight class. I think it's not in the cards for me. So I decided to stay in the classic, and just focusing now on doing a little bit more like classic training, or just bringing up body parts, and don't just destroying myself in the gym every day with like deadlifts or something.
Yeah, that's something that's like super interesting, because I see a lot of classic people, and not many of them train like you do. Like, you are like hardcore, like to the walls, insane deadlifting stuff that like, especially at the moment, because like it's always been an argument, like people always say, oh, deadlifting increases the size of your waist. Well, for you, clearly that's just not true.
No,
you've got really tight waist.
And I think it's also a lot about the breath control. If you can control your TVA, and that's what I brought up the last years, because I just did a lot of like the vacuum training, and this helped me a lot, because at the stage in the early years, it was always like a little bit of a belly problem for me, because also I struggled with digestion a lot in the last few weeks, and it was always like the belly and the breathing always came out, and this just took away from my physique. And I think I've just worked on this, and this just looks a lot better now.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think who it is. Joe, do you remember? It's the guy who you don't like so much from the Olympia lineup. The black guy who I really like. Who you always take the piss out of for his legs, because you say
white guy or
black guy.
Black guy.
His name. He competed this past year at the Olympia. Really sort of like kind of old school athletic look for a bodybuilder.
Rough Diesel?
No, it was in the open. It was in the
open. In the open class, okay.
Come on, Joe. You know this. I'll try and remember who it is.
I've had a mind fart and my head's gone.
I can't remember his name, but I remember like he's like the one of the few guys in open at the moment who can hit like a solid vacuum on stage. And I remember him talking about how he's very particular about his Valsalva technique, implementing like breath control.
Juan Morel. We're talking about Juan Morel.
We're not talking about Juan Morel. He's thinking about it for the next half hour. He's in like. Are you very particular as well in terms of like how you breathe and like your breath control? Because I can imagine like obviously if you're taking the deep breaths and moving the way you're moving, that's a lot of internal pressure, right? On the inside.
Yeah, this for sure. I'm doing this like the vacuum training or something. I'm doing this besides the training, but I also focus on the breathing control and not blowing my belly out at all the exercises. I really put a lot of focus on the last years on this, because I think this is something that can take away from a physique pretty much.
Yeah, I've been looking into that more and more because I've not got I'd say the smallest of waists. Obviously, I need to grow a lot more, like a hell of a lot more. I've only been training for like however many years, especially only competed last year. But using vacuums and like breath control, it made such a difference for me last year. So, like if that's something, that's something that should be kept up. I think always. Is your training ever different for body part? Because I always obviously see, and I think a lot of the viewers who are going to watch this always see you pulling insane lifts and same weights and moving the same weight. Is it different for body part? Because obviously, like you get some people who do like more higher volume for like arms and stuff like that, and other body. How is that with you, especially with like lagging body parts?
As I started in, I think 2016 with the progressive overload thing, I really tried to progress on every lift, which slowly turned me down then, because the CNS was fucked all day. And I've come now to the conclusion that I do like on a push day, I'm doing the chest compound first, then the shoulder compound second, the triceps compound, and these are the three exercises I really try to focus on the progression. And then I have like my metabolic work second, and there are some pump sets in there or the higher volume stuff.
Okay.
So I'm just combining the two to have both of like the mechanical tension and the metabolic stress in it. And also the same on the pull days. On the pull days, mostly I start off with like a pull down movement just to stretch out the latissimus, and then go to the compound move. And also at leg days, something like calves, then the adductors first, then the leg curls, and then I come to the compound moves where I really focus on the progression then.
Yeah, this is something that I'm probably going to start doing more once gyms open. I'm going to reevaluate how I train, because I noticed like towards like the start of this year, I think at the start of this year, I was about 5-6 months post show.
Okay.
Up until then, I was fine. I got to like January, Feb time, And I noticed that, yeah, my CNS was just so fucked. And I was crashing so early into a session. And then after the session as well, like I'd end up, like sometimes I'd just be sat there and I'd just sort of fall asleep for about half an hour, just sat in my chair in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
I think that's something I need to sort of look at and like figure out. Speaking of that, like one of the things we want to talk about with you a little bit is progressive overload, obviously. And like, do you think that, like, what do you think is like one of the most important factors of it? Because for me now, more and more, I've just started to notice it's recovery for me. And that's like what that is like become more and more the key component, especially as you move heavier and heavier load.
Yes. With the increase in load, it's always like you have to think about the recovery work, and also I've just got down to 4 training days a week. I'm now at like pull, rest, push, rest, legs, upper rest, and then started all over again, and have just 2 different rotations. And this is clearly enough for me, because then I can really train like I want to train and go all out at all sessions. And if I want to train more frequent or something like this, I have to do more pump work. And this is not
your sort of thing.
Not my thing now.
Yeah, for sure.
How did you actually get introduced to progressive overload?
From Jordan. I think in 2016 he came to Austria over my good friend Michael. He did a seminar here, and yeah, I think we were already on the membership site in 2016, and later in the year Jordan came to Austria and did the seminar, and this is how I got into it.
Okay, cool. So like, I'm trying to sort of build a timeline. So you met him there at that conference or whatever, at that seminar he did, and then at what point did you start like becoming close with that group? And like, because obviously you're sponsored by them now and you're a pro.
Yeah.
When did that sort of start to click for you?
I think we started to talk about in when did it start? At the end of 2017, because he was at the NABE Universe as well, and I think he was coached by my coach at this time, at Stefan Kinzel. And yeah, there we just got together, and he and Corin were asking a few of us Austrians if we want to be part of the team.
Cool.
And I think at this time I was with Animal or Universal Europe, but I didn't really like the products, because I only used like the whey protein or something, and they didn't fit my needs. So and Jordan was just explaining how he planned on doing all the supplements for the athletes or something. And yeah, so I got into it like this.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, it's a small world. Like I've only been sort of really in the competitive scene, like being in really like getting involved in it in the past sort of year. And at the time, like, it's crazy who you end up meeting and like what ends up happening. Like this podcast, for example, happened just because of like that fact that like I went to stuff and I was around other people, and like that's how this sort of came about. When did you actually start lifting? Because obviously I saw a post I think you posted recently about how you were obviously an ectomorph.
Yes.
People call it. And how tall are you? You're like 6'3"?
No, I'm 6'1" or 6'0", I think. It's 186 centimeters.
So you're like tall. You're still really tall.
I was in Man 1, from NABE.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how did you really get into it from there? Because like obviously there's going to be a lot of people watching this who are like, I guess, at the beginning stages. Like I'm only 20, Joe turned 20. Like we're pretty young guys, but there's going to be people even younger than us who are watching this. So how did you get into bodybuilding?
Into bodybuilding, I was always amazed by the pictures in the gyms, because my mother did like some aerobic stuff when I was 3 or 4 years old, and I always tell this
that early.
I always tell this story because this got me a little bit introduced into this, and then I did sports school or sports gymnasium, something like this, for 8 years, where we did like swimming, basically nearly every sport, and we had I don't know how to call it in English, but we went to a gym for I think half a year, and I really liked it. And at this time, I played professionally tennis, volleyball, and football or soccer.
Cool.
And but my knees started to hurt, and I got into physiotherapy.
Yeah.
And after that, I started the physiotherapy. Don't know how to call it in English.
Like rehabilitation?
Like the course?
It's like a course or education. Yeah, it's like 3 years. And there it wasn't possible to be at all the sports like before. And there I got into the bodybuilding a little bit more because I started training, I think, in 2007 when I finished with school. And then I got a little bit more into it because because I really liked it and set the goal to compete. I think in 2012 was the first competition for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were like, obviously you were sort of competitive before bodybuilding.
Yes.
So you were already sort of in the sports. Were you like just like the school athlete, if that makes sense? Were you like from like early age just like always like involved?
Yes, always involved in sports, and the gym was just something. I was always annoyed by the team sports because if like a mate fucked up like a pass or something, and in the bodybuilding I could really focus on myself, and if I did something wrong, it was my own fault. Yes, and
100%.
This was always
I think we all agree with that one.
Yeah. I that's what sort of like steered me away from stuff like that. I remember like I hated PE. I absolutely hated physical education in like growing up 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I hated it, one because I was like, there was obviously going to be someone like a bunch of people in the class who were better than you, and they were always going to get picked. That I hated. And number two was like, it's just the fact that you have to rely on someone else, and like that whole part of it. And that's what sort of drove me, I think, to get into like martial arts and stuff like that. And it's obviously like if you're coming, especially from a more competitive background, I could 100% see like the appeal of bodybuilding for you.
Yeah, sure,
like,
definitely.
It can be like, super intense, super competitive. So you ended up competing in 2012.
Yes.
Off the back of that, what happened? Where'd you go?
It was pretty amazing because I started I competed at the nationals, and I got asked by the president to do I think WFF Universe or something like this, like the World Fitness Federation, and I competed there and won the juniors class. And so this was a pretty nice thing to it, to just win all my competitions in the first season. And then I just compared myself to the bigger guys and just wanted to grow into in the main classes, because at the World Fitness Federation Universe, I also competed then in the men's super body class or thing, and I got second there. So I just thought I just want to work my way up then, and so this started.
Obviously, did you go straight from the WFF to competing with NABA, or?
Yes, 2013 I started at the NABA Worlds, I think, but I didn't place because I was not big enough for sure. But I also competed at the WFF Universe again, I think, because this was like I think just a year ago, or so, a year later.
So I've seen like the comparison pictures. How much stage weight have you actually added?
I think I was competing at 90 to 92, 90 to 91 kgs at the first contest.
Okay.
And at my last contest in 2019, I was 101, so 10 kgs.
That's solid. Yeah, that is a solid amount of progress. And you were, I'm trying to think. So you were like a good maybe 13 kilos heavier than I was in my first show. Just sort of puts in perspective. And obviously that's why you ended up getting chosen by the president to go and compete.
Yeah, but also in 2012, there weren't too many competitors. I think we were just 10 in my class at the nationals. And I think at the universe we were like 15 or something. So
yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bodybuilding has, I think competitively people say that bodybuilding has been kind of like in a bit of a decline, but in terms of competitors, like I'd say it's pretty good. Like I like last year it was absolutely rammed in shows I went to in the UK.
Cool.
What's it like over in Austria? Is it still like pretty busy in terms of shows? And
as we only have 2 national shows and the federations are like fighting each other. So
yeah.
there's the NABA and there's the IFBB.
Yeah.
And I think at the IFBB there were like 100 to 150 competitors in one season, and at the NABA like 90 or something. But they are coming not only from Austria, they're from Slovakia, from Czech Republic and something. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's that's a good mix. I remember, I think the first show I did, there was probably about 100 competitors in that one show, and that was a qualifier, but it was one of the last qualifiers in the year. So I remember that being quite busy. Is it so like obviously you switched to IFBB and you're an IFBB Pro now?
Yes.
Did you start off with the goal to always sort of turn pro in IFBB, whatever that might be, or?
I had this in my mind, but my coach told me in 2013 this will never happen. So because back then there was no classic physique class. If we're honest, if there would be no classic physique class, I wouldn't be pro. Yeah. So it was kind of.
I don't take you as. Yeah, I don't take you as the type of guy either to do men's physique. I just don't see men's.
No.
That just doesn't seem like your thing.
No, I would have just stayed in the amateur league and tried to do a lot of cool shows like the NABA Universe or I don't know, all the other stuff.
That's cool. Yeah, that's it's crazy that your coach even said at the beginning.
Yeah, but it's the honesty I love from him because we were working like I think we started in 2013 and we're still together because it's becoming kind of a friendship.
Yeah.
So we just click with each other and
That's cool. Yeah.
Have you always worked with Stefan or?
I've started the first prep in 2012 with another coach, and in 2013 I thought I could do it myself, but ended up with just having legs on stage. The shape was okay because I was always over dieting and doing like 45 minutes of cardio every day.
Yeah.
And with my type of metabolism, this isn't really.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, so you are very lower body dominant. That explains the upper day that you do in your.
Yes, definitely. I think from 2000, when I started with Stefan, 2013 to 2014, I did legs only once in 2 to 3 weeks.
Wow.
So you did with the Tom Platz route.
Yes, something like this. So just once every 3 weeks.
That's crazy. What was that like then? Because after like 3 weeks, I can imagine like you sort of lose some of the motor pathways, right, for those exercises, or?
Yeah, it was
Is it- is-
okay because I was always looking forward to training legs because I hated the
Yeah.
upper body training. So
Yeah, I bet.
because leg day was my favorite day. Yeah, so it wasn't because I was training like a really high volume.
Yeah.
I could give myself DOMs for like a week or something with a 40 set leg
I
workout.
bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. So what did a typical leg day look like for you? Because I imagine at the time, if you're only training it that low frequency, those sessions must go on for hours and hours.
Yeah, I think that I didn't do much rest between the sets, so I didn't really focus on bringing up the weight or progressing the weight because I always thought I was squatting like 4 plates a side or something, but didn't really focus on bringing it up to 5 or 6 plates or whatever.
So it's just sort of ruining yourself.
Yeah, I was just running myself with squats, hex squats, leg press, and something like this. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it paid off. It paid off.
Yeah, it did, but I think it was from the thought process. It was like we pulled it out because it was just taking all the nutrients to grow, and so the upper body didn't grow. I think the thought process was pretty well back then.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Were you so at the time? What was your nutrition like based around that? Because like, surely would you have like a massive high day before or on the day or?
No, I would just always had like a training day nutrition plan and a rest day nutrition plan. But in 2013, I was pretty high. I had also fit in 2 like energy cakes a day. As well, like like some oat cakes or something like this, which are like 500 calories or something. And I think we were at a time we were at a time like 7,500 calories, and
no wonder you had a stomach distension problem.
Just stuffing it in, it was just crazy.
That's insane. What's your food like now then?
Now I'm at around 5K.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is your composition better? Like how has that changed? Because obviously,
yes, because if you're getting more mature or getting more muscle, you don't actually need to push calories that high anymore, or the body composition is just a lot better because there is more muscle. And not as much fat is accumulating anymore.
Wow. So after like let's talk about you leading up to turning pro. How did you just decide in was it 2016? When was it that you sort of decided, okay, I'm going to go for pro?
No, I think we were it was 2017. I think after the 2017 season, we decided to go like for a pro qualifier. Because I think in 2018 they came up with the pro qualifiers.
Yeah.
Because I think in the end of 2017 the IFBB amateur and the pro league split it up. And so
because a lot of the European countries did go with the elite version, didn't they? I know that happened. For
they did. Ours as well. Yes.
Wow. Okay. So then you decided 2017 went to a pro qualifier, and then how did that road to pro turn out for you? How did that, was it like
competed in 2019 then? I just planned from 2017 to 2019 because I always took like from 2015 on, I always took 2 years off just to grow a little more. And then in 2019 I started my prep, I think in February, and competed first at the NABA Nationals in Austria, where I won the second time the overall.
And this was at this point this was in classic?
No, this was in NABA bodybuilding. NABA Open.
This was in
in the NABA Man 1 class. And after that I did the NABA Worlds, in the man one. I think I finished 3rd at that show. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that the one with Josh Maley competed?
No, with Josh I competed in 2017 at the JP Classic, and then after that at the NABA Universe.
I get you.
And 2019, then we planned on doing Portugal, which was in July, but then the show in Czech Republic came up and the shape was pretty good, so we decided to this one first, because to have 2 options to get pro. And just turned pro at the first pro qualifier, fortunately.
That's cool. Yeah. And did you go on to do Portugal?
Yes, because I already booked the flight and something, and I could just do the pro show there. So I did my debut 4 weeks after getting the pro card.
Crazy. That's cool. I remember seeing like the pictures and stuff from the stage in Portugal. Was that the one where they had like the stage on the ground?
Yes, the coolest thing ever.
That is so cool.
Lifting you up with the platform. Definitely,
What a pro debut. There's a few other shows that I've seen that look cool like that. I think is it the Monsters in Pro?
Yeah.
Is it Korea or Japan? Or like that?
Korea, lifting platform.
It's like they have these giant neon panels at the back, and your name comes up on the panel.
Oh, okay.
Like loads of like shots of you hitting poses behind you, and then there's smoke.
That's cool.
And there's dramatic lighting, and then you walk out and hit your routine. It's a huge stage.
At the open class, it was pretty cool as well, because they just put all the open class bodybuilders in like 2 circles. Yeah. And they were just coming up, and then it was turning, like you could see every competitor. It was pretty cool.
That is cool. That is.
Hopefully that increases the board for every show as well.
Yeah, I feel like that raises the standard a bit. I wish every show was like Portugal. Because that's a really cool way of doing it.
Laser beams, everything.
Yeah, everything. I want it to be like an actual spectacle. I feel like, what do you think about the state of like bodybuilding shows nowadays? Because like obviously you look at old shows, and it attracted more than just bodybuilding fans, right? It used to have kind of a bit more of like a wider appeal back in like, let's say the 70s, 80s.
Do you think so?
Early 90s. Yeah, well, because there's like, you see in like documentaries and stuff, you'd have like Arnold and like Lou or whoever it was, and they used to do to raise money. I think it was for Weeder then. They used to raise money by doing expositions where they'd go into an art exhibit and they'd hit poses in an art exhibit, and people would pay to do it.
Speaking of that, Jermaine, do you want to go into your little the thing you did? Was it last year after the pro qualifier, when you did all the painting stuff with the art and everything?
I don't know what you're on about. What do you mean? What are you on about?
Kevin, when you were in like gold and red and everything, and you
got yeah, of course, yeah. Now I know. I remember seeing that. That's cool.
Yeah, in Austria, I don't know why it is that way, but they need bodybuilders for certain jobs. Just basically got a job today for. They asked me today if I would like to be in a music video on Monday or something. That's pretty cool, because it's like a little side job to all the other things I'm doing.
Yeah.
And this was basically like body painting and just posing with some, I don't know how to say it in English, but vases.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Just for the flowers. Yeah. And was pretty nice to do it, and I'm not too shy on doing this, because
that's cool. That's a cool thing to sort of like have there that people can see. Like I don't think many bodybuilders probably have that sort of thing in their like repertoire, if that makes sense. Like you don't see that. And, like, would you consider going into acting or anything like that after bodybuilding, or is that something that you'd be interested in? Or you?
I already did in an Austrian crime series.
Yeah, cool.
I was just hit by a train. I got hit by a train and just basically doing I don't know how to call it in English now. They were just putting all just like substances on me and doing like a copy of me. I think I posted this as well. They just made like
a mold, like special effects.
A wax figure of me.
Yeah.
The same, just to put it like then there. And yeah, this was also a pretty cool experience because I don't think everybody has this, as you said, in your repertoire.
Yeah. I need to move to Austria. Some more work opportunities. That sounds amazing. Did you have any? Obviously, you were into sports growing up, but like, did you have any actual theater experience or acting originally? Were you doing any of that sort of stuff? Or?
No. Okay, because I'm pretty bad at like doing expressions or something.
Okay.
I don't think this would work out well. Also, for the music video, I asked if I have to dance or something because then I'm not into it. Dancing and singing is nothing for me, so I'm out of that.
Yeah,
just again run over by trains. Happy day.
Hit me by trains, but no.
As long as I just have to stand there and do, my own thing, that's fine.
Definitely.
I asked that because I know quite a few bodybuilders had stage experience before bodybuilding, so they were I know a few people, me included, were just very comfortable going on stage in the first place and doing that because it's kind of.
I'd say it's similar with the professional sport as a team as well because you have the audience, you have the crowd and everything.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Anyway. I like this from the first competition on. I don't know why. I was was feeling pretty confident on stage, and I'm now the same. I'm not really shy on going on stage because most of the time, let's say it like this, the shape is on point and I'm pretty confident to present it. And I think this is really, really important also for placing.
Okay, cool.
If you can present your package or really confident, I don't think.
Especially in the classic division as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's get into that. So how much do you spend time-wise on posing and routines and just hitting shots? Obviously, you hit shots in check-ins or whatever you're doing, but is that a daily thing for you, weekly? How do you go about that?
To be honest, I really start with prep. So just in prep, not in off season. I'm just I should do more, but I think I don't really like to, or just basically focus on other things.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just when I start with prep, it's just like a switch on, and then I'm doing all prep stuff or posing stuff or something like this.
It's I feel like I did posing for the first part of my off season leading up until Christmas time. And then after that, I still hit look obviously in the mirror, see how take pictures, whatever. But it's rare that I actually go out of my way to actually practice posing at the moment. Yeah. So it's just for me, I think it's more of it's almost, I wouldn't say a distraction because it's important, but it's drawing away from I guess the focus of the off season, which is growing and improving. Obviously, you have to see yourself to grow and improve, but
sure.
If you're doing that all the time, do you think that sort of takes away from the goal?
No, not really. But I think if you really have it, so if you really be comfortable with the posing and just being or getting better with it, I don't think you have to do it that often.
Okay, yeah.
You can improve quite a lot in a short space of time. So.
Yeah, it's true.
Definitely.
Yeah. Are you a natural poser then? Because obviously you hit some really good poses.
Yeah, kind of. Let's say the first season wasn't if I'm looking back now, the poses are not okay, but compared to all the other competitors, it looked good.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. You just need to be better than the guy next to you, right? So
yes, that's it.
what are your goals now? Because obviously you're a pro, you have multiple businesses. You also have your own podcast, right? So
yes.
yeah, so you've got your own platform, which is in Austrian, and you sort of branched out to a bunch of other stuff with like a bit of acting and stuff like that. What is your goal competitively now? Are you, because you're turned pro, are you stopping there? Are you going to the Olympia? Like what is the goal?
The goal is basically to compete next year.
Okay.
Pretty early on. I think we will start with the diet in November, and then just trying to gain some points for the Olympia if it is possible. We will see it from then on. So basically the goal is to compete one day at the Olympia.
That's cool. How many because obviously like the point system it's been around a few years, but how many points do you get per placing, if that makes sense? How does the point system work?
I think it's different with every competition, like Arnold Classic or so. If you place like 1 to 5, you get more points if you're placing like if you're competing like San Marino Pro, so which is a little bit a smaller show, then you get less points. And I think only the top 3 in the point ranks can qualify for the Olympia. Okay. And if you win a pro show, you qualified. Yes.
You're banking on getting in on points, not from winning a show?
Yes. No, I don't think I can win a show.
There's some incredible physiques out there. What if you sort of had to look at the current classic physiques out there, who do you think is the best? Obviously, we've got people in the lineup like Chris, Brian, all the top guys. Who do you personally think is really impressive?
Definitely from the symmetry and the muscle maturity, Chris is pretty cool. Brian is pretty good as well. I also like Rough Diesel because the posing is so on point. I think these are the top 3 guys. There are a lot of guys upcoming which are looking like freaks. So I think it will be even more difficult to qualify in the classic than in the open. If you can say it like this, because it's just these people just have like tiny waists and like this shoulder girdles.
But that's the Russian classic physique guy, his waist is probably like 15 inches. Crazy guy.
Yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah, it's
that kind of, you can't do anything if you have that structure.
Like what are you gonna do? That's true. What so if like next year your goal is to qualify, do you have any aspirations of, let's say, making the top 10? Like what how far are you wanting to go with it?
Just as high as I can go. I don't really think it's possible to place in the top 10. I don't think that would be. I don't think that's really possible, because I'm working pretty hard, but I know that I have my genetic limits, and that there are a lot of guys out there which are better. So I'm just doing my work and trying to get better and compete there one day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's all you can do, I guess. I like one of my aspirations. I sort of to an extent have come to the terms that whether or not I compete at a high level, my goal is to turn pro, and I've sort of already accepted that I'm probably, obviously I don't know yet. I'm still sort of new the sport. I don't know how my body's going to respond in like a few years' time, who knows, but I set myself the goal of pro, and I don't see myself going to Olympia. But what would you tell someone who's just getting into bodybuilding and has aspirations of competing, what would be your advice?
Definitely that you have to give yourself time, because if you're rushing it, it's always working out in the wrong way. I think that's basically the biggest thing I can tell. And then just sticking to the basics, because people are switching around training systems, nutrition, and all the things. And if you don't really do something for a long period of time, you can't really say if it works for you or not. So really just trying to stick with the basics and really try to just stick with the program. And I think that's basically it.
So
if you could go back to when you first started, would you, if you could tell yourself and like to learn progressive overload right from the beginning, would you say that would be a good thing or a bad thing?
No, I don't think so. I think it was pretty cool to just have the volume thing just to build up, because I don't think how to say it like this, there is a good thing in progressive overload, but there is also a bad thing, because if people just getting sloppy with execution or something like this, maybe they're better off with like something like a 6-day split, where they really can focus on like the muscle mind connection or something like this, and then go on the progressive overload. Because this was just something I was working myself up with the volume type of training, and then the progressive overload just gave me another kick or
level.
Another level.
I 100% agree with that. I think that I've noticed more and more now, and we had a guest on as well, a bodybuilder called Matt Tofton, a guy, UK coach, and he was talking about this and how at the end of the day you'll get to a point where, look, if like for me, for example, I've got to a point where I can incline press 4 plates aside for, let's say, 5 or 6. And after that set, that ruins me for that set. Let's say that's like my sort of peak at the time. How can I progress that in terms of load for the next 10 years? Like realistically, if I'm pressing 4 plates now, what am I going to be on? 8 plates aside in 10 years time? I'm going to tear something. Like something's going to go wrong potentially along the way. So
that's a good way to look at it, because I think if you're getting too strong too early, or just it's just based you can have some kind of injury along the way. Or if you're just benching like 4 plates aside on the incline now with the muscle mass you have now, how much plates you have to bench to look like a certain way then.
100%. So I think a takeaway for some of the listeners out there, especially someone who's just getting into bodybuilding as a sport, is although progressive overload as a system is excellent, and intensity is very important, and the rest of it, execution trumps all. Is that what you think?
Definitely, sure. If you can hit the muscle, I don't think it's. I think it is important to increase the mechanical tension over time. But I think if you're doing like a 6-way split, it's a little bit slower. The increment is a little bit slower, but maybe it's better for you as well, because you're just like a beginner and trying to find into training.
100%. I'm at the time I thought it was kind of stupid that I was doing. I for a period of time, because I didn't train legs for the first year like some people don't.
Okay.
I know any better. I was an idiot. Didn't train legs. So I spent the following year doing pretty much German volume training. And, I was doing ridiculous amount of sets on barbell squats, leg extensions, leg curls, whatever exercise. And I think that has had a big impact and benefit coming into progressive overload as a system. And now I feel like I do have an appreciation for both. So for listeners out there, I think a take home should be do both. Like they're not mutually exclusive. Kevin here is a perfect example of that. He's a guy who's doing both systems simultaneously, and he's getting some good benefits from it. So
yeah, but it's all down to the recovery capabilities of every person. So you can't really tell if this system is good for whoever.
Yeah. Do you think then kind of try everything? Just give it a go, like early on.
Yeah, but try it for longer than 1 month. That's the thing.
100%. Yeah. Don't just change it all the time. Like, is that like, what is your big pet peeve with people in the gym? Because mine is definitely people who just can't stick to one thing for more than a week. Because that's a big trend we see. Obviously, like there's new fads that come in and out all the time.
Yeah.
What is like one thing that you see in the gym which just
in the gym?
Yeah.
I think it's shadow boxing.
Yeah, I agree. I
really don't get this.
Yeah.
Just doing something gymnastics or fighting the air. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all the pictures of Sylvester Stallone at the wall at that gym. Everyone inspired.
It's just where I basically pick my phone up and do like this for a story.
Yeah. Why do you think people do that? Do you walk in the gym and they see you, obviously a giant of a man, and do they just look at you and then do they just start shadow boxing to try and feel a bit more masculine? Like what's that about?
Could be, but I don't recognize that they have recognized me. Could be, but yeah, it's just.
Yeah, that is
Stay
true.
away from me.
Yes. Yeah. They're scared of you. That's what it is. Yeah. Joe, what's your big pet peeve? Do you have one?
Probably bad form, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Simple, like form. The first thing I ever trained was legs, and I was taught by a guy who was a top level amateur back in the 90s. So he taught me how to squat perfectly, at least for my biomechanics, at least. So I've always been taught from the very beginning, do it correctly or don't do it at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like good form, and I don't like pointless screaming as well. Like they have maybe 10 kilos on the bar and they're just going, there's just no need. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, definitely this one.
At what point do you think it's like acceptable to start screaming in the set? At what point?
Well, it depends on your body, right? It depends on the person.
Yeah.
But I'd say once you start learning how to train to failure, that's probably a good time to exert some energy and make some noise. So.
I think at the end of a set, if you're just getting the last rep up or something like this, but you can't start at the first rep with.
Yeah, you can't.
Basically makes no sense.
You can't do one rep on a warm up of hack squat and just start screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to get into some questions, Joe?
Yeah. Absolutely. Did either of you guys get any first before I go into mine, or?
Anyone got any questions for?
Did you get any questions, Kevin, or?
Me? No, I didn't get any questions.
Okay. So obviously we were supposed to have Dan on as well. So one of the questions was university/studying and bodybuilding and how to find a good balance of the two.
I think depends on where your focus is on. So if you're just trying to get all the exams done, if this is your focus, just focus on this more and just give yourself more time for recovery and just basically train 3 times a week, something like this. And if your focus is more on training, then the exams or the studying or the university doesn't matter that much. So
what about you, Jermaine?
I got one stupid question from someone. It's a would you rather question. Would you rather wear a mini skirt on stage every time you competed, or just not compete?
What?
Dumb question someone sent me.
They have to wear a women's dress on stage.
A women's skirt on stage. I mean, it's probably got about as much coverage as the classic shorts. It's a really small skirt. He's
I
really
think,
thinking about this.
I think not compete.
No, I think that's fair enough, to be honest. I don't think I could. I don't think I could. Who was it? Who was it who stepped on stage and competed with the? He did his posing routine with his daughter in the.
Josh Wade.
Oh, Josh Wade. Yeah, Josh Wade did it, didn't he?
He wore like a ballerina costume.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen this one.
Really?
We'll have to send it to you. Yeah, it's funny.
I had a question. So how did Brutal Work Clothing start initially?
It started as like, let's say, a diet idea in 2015, because 2015 was the hardest prep I ever did.
Okay.
Just starting out at, I think, 110 kgs, and I had to get down, I think, to 92 kgs. And I was already in contest shape at 98 kilograms. So I was basically doing 7 weeks of no carb, 2 hours of cardio a day, and basically fasting into the show for like 21 hours in between a flight and something like this. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, no, thank you.
And yeah, because I think if you're dieting that hard and if you don't have to eat that much, you're getting much more focused on other things. And that's where I started to draw the logo and
got productive.
Just more productive, as you say.
I think the first time I saw anything from Brutal Work was when James Hollingshead wore the "In Trend We Trust" one.
Yeah. That's a cool one.
Do you still come up with the designs yourself, or?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they're cool designs.
That's pretty cool.
Cool shirts.
So,
I've got another question. So, someone's asking, is it when we talk about dieting? Obviously, people talk about over dieting, but is there a point where, like, do you think that over dieting is kind of important or like somewhat a myth to an extent? Do you think there is like obviously you'll lose some muscle potentially during a contest prep? Do you think to get the maximum conditioning that you could out of a prep, do you think you need to over diet?
Depends on if you're natural or enhanced.
Okay. Yeah.
So I can't really tell for a natural competitor because I was enhanced from the first show on.
Okay.
And but I think I wouldn't say I lost muscle in 2015 where I dieted down that hard, but I think the glycogen storage was extremely low. Yeah, extremely depleted, and we couldn't fill out in like 1 or 2 days for the show because I was basically standing in a row like 4 hours in full sun, and I was only weighing like 88 kgs and at the weigh-in. And
that's crazy.
That just shut down after this. So I had to walk and had to eat, had to walk just to get this going again.
To get moving. Yeah. How so in your peak week, how many days were you carving up for?
In 2015?
Yeah.
I only had I think 24 hours for the Arnold Classic back then.
Wow.
Where the IFBB was together with the Pro League.
Yeah.
In 2015, I competed at the Arnold Classic in Madrid at Classic Bodybuilding. So I went down competed at show, I think, it was the Naba Universe in South. Am I back?
Yeah, we're good. We're back. Sorry, we lost you for a second there. You're back.
Yeah.
Sorry, we missed that last one. Yeah, so you were talking about your peak, your 24-hour like window
for the Arnold.
The Arnold Classic prep in Madrid.
Yeah.
And where were I? What did I say last?
So you had that 24-hour window to peak for the classic show. How much were you packing in food-wise?
I think about 800 to 2,000 grams of carbs. Yeah, but this was pretty tough because, as I said, the digestion was shutting down because I wasn't eating or drinking for 21 hours.
Yeah.
And yeah, this was
Do you
pretty
think
hard for me.
that? So do you think that if you were to do that sort of over dieting, essentially,
Yeah.
Do you think it's important to have refeeds or days where you can try and stoke metabolism or fire up metabolism? Like,
if you're enhanced, I don't think so, no, because
Okay.
you already have the thyroid or something like this in.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's important in this way.
Sense.
And I basically think all the competitors which need these like refeed days or something like this, if the shape is there, you can do them. But if the shape isn't there, and I think it's for the most part of the competitors, I think they won't need that much. Maybe some, but not cheat days or something like this, because this will also throw up digestion as well. Just a little bit higher in carbs or something like this.
Yeah, I agree. I know for a fact when last year when I was prepping, I didn't need one. It was partly because my prep was shorter than most people's preps, most natural people's preps. So I had quite a lot to pull off and get down to actually be in condition. So I know personally for me, I just didn't need to. But there was other people who I was competing around or against, or like fellow competitors under AJ, who were also prepping for that show, and they were having full-on diet breaks because they were just pulling it off so fast.
Sure. Yeah. As I said, for a natural competitor, I can't really speak because I'm not that experienced with them.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Another fun question. Some of the best gyms you have been to, and do any particular machines or kit pieces stick out in your mind that you remember?
The best gyms, I think the best one of all was the Strength Asylum.
Okay.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I didn't train there because I was only there in 2017 for the JP Classic.
Okay.
For the tanning, and basically all the 3 gyms we have here in Vienna are the really, really good gyms. It's Top Gym Vienna, it's Das Gym Intelligent Strength, and Fitness. Yeah. And they have pretty good kit. So basically all of the gyms have where I have my favorite kit.
Yeah. I see a lot of footage from different people at Das Gym, and I always think like, look, if I'm gonna go traveling around Europe to go to gyms, Das Gym's gonna be like one of the first places I go.
Sure. Yeah, they're pretty close around. Vienna, so
do a little gym tour. That'd be cool.
Touching back on digestion for a minute, if you don't. Obviously, you had a digestive issue back in 2015.
Yeah.
I have a colitis anyway, so I naturally have a digestive issue.
Okay.
Would there be, approaching a peak week or something like this, would there be anything you would look out for with someone who does have an inflammation issue?
I think we lost him. We lost him.
I think you got hit by a train again.
I think I'm back.
You're back.
Sorry.
Okay, no worries.
So what was the question? I missed it. I think you were talking about the digestion peak week.
Yes. For a peak week, like approaching the show, for someone who does have a digestive issue, would there be anything that you would look out for in particular, or not? Or would you go ahead and do things the usual way? Or
that's a pretty tough question, because if I'm doing it with the person or prepping the person for the first time, I think we just go like the normal way and just check for the first show if it works fine, and adjust from there.
Yeah, that's I know that's what AJ did last year with my prep, because obviously for my first show, I came in and I was quite lean. obviously, like I wouldn't say I wasn't the leanest, but I was one of the leanest at the show.
You had a good balance of being lean and being quite full.
It worked out for me quite well because I was very tight, and it was the first time we'd really pushed any carbs into me properly. So
because you're a big guy anyway. You're like 6'2" yourself, so you have a big frame.
6'1".
So
yeah, so I'm quite like
frame.
And we noticed a week before that I was having some inflammation myself.
Okay.
When we started to try and increase food a little bit, just to see how I'd respond, almost like, I guess, like a mock peak. And we increased the food, and then I don't know whether it was something I ate that was bad or just my own body just not responding to it well because it'd been so long.
Okay.
My digestion just went down the gutter, and I had a lot of like abdominal cramping and stuff like that, which was really throwing off how my stomach looked. It tidied up very quickly, and it was sort of very acute inflammation. But if leading out to that peak week, we had to put that into perspective. So it was quite a moderate carb up for me because of that. And I think that actually did, like you said, work to my benefit. And then going into my second show of last year, I had a bunch of other digestion issues. I think partly to do with changing in circumstance. In the week after that show, I had a change of place where I was in Wales in the UK, and I was training out of Tenby Dungeon Gym for that week. So I had a few minor changes in terms of food sources, not necessarily like the actual source of food, like whether it was oats or rice, for example, but in terms of like brand, where it was from, like how I was cooking it, just because I was staying somewhere else. And I think that did actually end up having a detrimental effect on my physique. So yeah, I think, like you say, it's very situational and it's multifaceted. And for that second show, I looked good, but I spent a lot of time trying not to become like, it was a lot of time trying to make me look tight and not watery because of inflammation. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that, Joe.
Okay, cool. So the thing I take away from that is that if you found something that works, like in the off season and coming into the show, just keep things and food sources as consistent as possible throughout, especially if you have the digestive issues. So.
Yes. Also, if you have the digestive issues, what maybe could help a bit is to just get the greens a little bit lower, on the lower side, because in diet you tend to have a little bit more of the greens in there.
Yeah.
And if the fiber uptake is just a little bit too high, this could also impact on your digestion. Okay. Because
the one thing I have been doing, I've been using a greens formula. Even now, I'm not prepping anything, but I've done like a little mini cup. So the greens powder has been a lot better on my stomach, and there's less, distension and inflammation from, say, broccoli, peas, things like that.
Yeah, because you have to get accused or just used to the product, and also the colon bacteria has to build up, and this needs like 3 months or something. Yeah. And if you haven't eaten like any broccoli for a month or something like this now, you don't have the bacteria in your colon.
Okay, so
that was the one thing when I got diagnosed with the colitis. They said my colon bacteria was very small. There wasn't a lot of it, which is the reason I'm on certain medications now. Which, fingers crossed, things seem to be going well. I can pull a vacuum now with very comfortably. My waist has gone back down to like 29 inches and things like that. So fingers crossed, everything is going to be okay for now. Yeah. So we shall see. The one thing I have introduced as well, because it's in the greens product, is like a fungi formula, like a fungus formula.
Okay.
And some different microbiome as well, and just adding external microbiome in, to aid in my own digestion and things like that. And I've noticed a huge difference, especially in my mood as well. because obviously gut health is the cause of a lot of issues that are pretty much not related to digestion as well. So yeah, there we go.
So coming back round to you, Kevin, real quick, and what you were saying about not going overboard on greens, obviously having them but not going overboard. How much like vegetables? How many vegetables do you actually have in a prep? Like how much of that is made up of actual carbohydrate sources, and then like your like the accumulation through like vegetables? And
Yeah, I think I would have, or I had like 200 grams per meal. So or yeah, basically a little bit under 1 kg. And if this is getting an issue, I'm just pulling it out and going a little higher, maybe in carbs.
Okay. You had me worried that I was wondering what you were going to say. I think I was pretty close to a kilo last year in terms of greens, which is, I think as well, it's considering like my size. I'm not as big as Kevin, obviously. So I obviously don't need as much, but I think I got to like 800 grams last year, 800 grams of mixed. And I think that was fairly comfortable for me. I think that's fairly comfortable. But obviously,
yeah, but this also depends on everyone's digestive system.
Yes,
so it doesn't even depend on muscle mass, because if you're just used to a lot more.
You'll come back.
Yeah, a lot more greens. Yeah.
So I'm back.
Oh, you cut off for me 1 second. I don't know if I cut for you guys.
Oh, I was still here. Sorry.
Oh, right, okay, cool. Yeah, no, I agree with that. So yeah,
you like build a tolerance to like separate amounts over a longer period of time. So say you're used to 500 grams, you can tolerate 500 grams well. So yeah,
sure.
Yeah, do you have any more questions, Jermaine?
I do not have any more questions. I was very light.
We usually ask the guest before we close the show. We usually ask the guest if it was your final meal for your next meal and you was never able to eat again, if you could have like an appetizer, the main course, and a dessert, which one would you have?
I think like a beef tartare.
Okay.
Just to start off, the main meal would be, I don't even know, because I don't like to eat.
Fresh air, yeah.
Because I always have to eat that much. 5Ks is not that much anymore, but still I'm struggling a bit to get it all in. I would go like with pizza.
Okay.
And
cool.
I'm not for like the last meal. I'm not really the sweet guy, so I basically just eat the first and the second meal, and then I'm done.
Cool. Would you have a side with the pizza? Would you have something else?
Second pizza.
That's a good answer.
Pizza salad.
Yeah. Nice.
It sounds pretty good, to be fair.
Yeah, I'd have that. Sounds all right.
What's your favorite pizza though?
Yeah.
The Diavolo, I think.
Nice.
Like,
spicy.
I like the spicy. Yeah, I like spicy foods.
I'm the same. Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't think I've changed mine. The only thing that's changed for me is I want the cheesecake.
Okay.
Instead of meringue. Joe, don't laugh about it. This is like a running thing on this, where I said the first time that I'd have a meringue as a dessert, because it's a light dessert. And I just got roasted for it by Joe and the guest on. So,
okay.
Was it Louis?
Yeah.
Moylan. I think it was Louis Moylan. I got roasted for it, so I've changed it to cheesecake.
Okay.
Right. Shall we wrap it up then?
I'm happy to.
Yeah.
So before we go, Kevin, is there anything you want to plug to say to the listeners, like a final leaving message and where to find out more about yourself?
Yeah. Basically on Instagram at the Lion King KS. I'm also working with international clients on the Kevin Stütz Bodybuilding. It's also on Instagram or just my webpage. And yeah, if you like cool workout or individual workout clothing, check www.brutalworkclothing.com. And yeah, that's basically it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. Where am I going with this? Oh, one thing I wanted to ask actually, where does the Lion King name come from your Instagram? Where did that come from?
Where does it come from?
Ask this question. So I've always wondered.
But the video, isn't it?
Maybe basically because I'm born in August.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Leo, yeah?
So Lion King and KS are just my initials.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, finally I know. That's right. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kevin, for coming on. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Off the Script podcast with Kevin Stütz. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.